Hey guys, Aaron Dorr here with the Missouri Firearms Coalition. The election is almost here, and for gun owners like you and me, there's a lot in the line right now. Kamala Harris, as we all know, is the most aggressive gun grabber that we've ever seen as a presidential candidate in this country. And her overt hatred of gun owners and the Second Amendment is something she's not even trying to hide anymore. The damage that Kamala Harris intends to inflict on our gun rights would be catastrophic. And as we're about to find out, that overt hatred of gun owners is spilling over into down-ballot races all across the state, including the gubernatorial general election right now, specifically Crystal Quade. You know, guys, it wasn't that long ago, just 8 years ago, as a matter of fact, where the Democrat nominee for governor here in Missouri, Chris Koster, had the endorsement of national gun rights organizations because he was that pro-gun, at least in their estimation. In 8 short years, we've slid into where we have Democrat nominees now who are pushing agendas that we've never seen here in Missouri, at least not at the gubernatorial level. And so as you decide who to vote for between now and November 5, we want to do a video to give you guys a really detailed breakdown on Mike Kehoe versus Crystal Quade when it comes to your gun rights. And we're going to begin with current Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe. Mike Kehoe, first things first, has surveyed 100% pro-gun with the Missouri Firearms Coalition. And what that means is that he has answered every question we gave him pro-gun, and he did it in writing. You can see Mike's survey and all of our signed surveys on our website right now at MissouriFirearmsCoalition.org. But we asked Mike Kehoe, hey, you want to be governor? If we get these various bills on your desk, would you sign or veto them? Or if the gun grabbers put their bills on your desk, would you sign or veto them? As you're about to find out, Mike Kehoe hit that out of the park. Before I get to that, though, you should know that when he was in the state Senate, Mike Kehoe voted yes on Missouri's Stand Your Ground law. Missouri's Stand Your Ground law is what protects you from Kim Gardner-style Soros-backed prosecutors if you're forced to use your firearm in a self-defense situation. Without that, you could be charged for bogus crimes because you did not retreat far enough before you used defensive force. That problem is largely done away with here in Missouri because Mike Kehoe helped support that bill in the Missouri Senate. He also was a yes vote on Missouri's constitutional carry law. This passed in 2016, and it makes the carry permit optional for law-abiding Missourians. A lot of Missourians want a permit, that's fine. A lot of Missourians don't want their name in a government database because they don't want Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or any president to know what guns they have. That's why we passed constitutional carry, and Mike Kehoe was a yes vote on that fight. Then from there into future things. What would you do as governor? We asked Mike Kehoe, what would you do with red flag laws? For those who don't know, a red flag law allows someone like your ex-spouse or a liberal neighbor of yours to call you in, say you could be dangerous. The cops then go before a judge and say, this guy could be dangerous. And when, not if, when the judge agrees and signs the seizure order in a red flag state, your guns are gone before you ever have been charged with a crime. You haven't been charged, you haven't been arrested, you dang sure haven't been convicted. Before anything happens, your guns are gone. Instead of being innocent until proven guilty, you are truly guilty until you can prove your innocence. Mike Kehoe is a hell no on red flag laws in Missouri. We asked him, what about gun registration? Whether it's universal background checks or a straight up permit to buy firearms, where are you on that? Mike Kehoe said he's a no, and he would veto any effort to mandate gun registration here in Missouri. The same for waiting periods. He's an absolute no on any attempt to mandate waiting periods because, as we all know, it only gets good people killed. That's the reality of waiting periods. Doesn't stop criminals, only stops law-abiding Missourians. Finally, we asked the governor, hey, we're trying to ban red flag laws here in Missouri. Other red states have done it. If you're the governor, would you sign that bill into law? And Mike Kehoe said, and again, you can see it for yourself, he said he would absolutely sign the bill to ban red flag laws here in Missouri forever. Now, the primaries here in Missouri were tough this year. Everyone knows that. The August primary had left a lot of people bruised. That's usually the case after a statewide primary. And a lot of gun voters have been asking us how we can know that what Mike Kehoe says is the case is what he actually believes. Well, guys, I'll give you a couple things. First of all, we have a voting record. Talk is cheap, but a written survey, that's one level of proof. And then you have his actual votes in the Missouri Senate as a separate level of proof. And finally, in a recent televised debate between Mike Kehoe and Crystal Quade, Mike Kehoe was asked, it was a televised debate. In fact, we'll put the clip of this at the end of this video so you can see it right here attached to this video. They asked him, why won't you support gun control like red flag laws and background checks here in Missouri? And I'm paraphrasing here, but Kehoe said, look, I grew up in St. Louis, had a single mom. We lived in a gang-infested area. We had gangs up and down our street. And he said back then, as it is today, the same criminals who buy those guns, they're not buying them in a store. They're not following Missouri's gun laws. And so when we infringe on gun rights, we're only limiting the self-defense options of law-abiding citizens. Guys, it was a heck of a statement. He didn't have to make it, and it speaks very highly about Mike Kehoe and his support for the Second Amendment. That's Mike Kehoe, a record going back to 2010 in Jeff City of supporting the Second Amendment and a survey to match as we approach November. Guys, that's Mike Kehoe. Now, that brings up Crystal Quade. And again, because of the energy from Joe Biden and now from Kamala Harris and their overt hatred of our gun rights, we're seeing Crystal Quade mirror that here in Missouri. She wants to repeal basically everything that we have accomplished here in Jeff City over the last 10 years. For starters, she wants to repeal Missouri's Stand Your Ground law. She wants to go back to the days where if you draw your firearm or use your firearm in a justifiable use of force situation, you could be charged with a crime just because you didn't back up a certain number of steps first. That's insane, but that's what Crystal Quade wants in Missouri, a repeal of Stand Your Ground law. She also wants to repeal constitutional carry. Again, they want our names in a database, and they want to know who owns what firearms. She wants to repeal constitutional carry to make that happen. She wants waiting periods for gun owners. Again, they only get innocent Missourians killed. Everyone knows this. Criminals don't abide by the laws, let alone waiting periods, and so they're not going to be impacted by this. Crystal Quade knows this, but her hatred for gun owners clouds her judgment, and she's now on the record in support of waiting periods in Missouri. The same for gun registration. They want universal background checks in the worst way, which means they want to criminalize the private sale of firearms here in Missouri. Because again, they want to know who has what guns, and we all know why. Because gun registration is the first step. It's the necessary precursor to gun confiscation. Don't forget, 2008, Missouri two times under Jay Nixon sent up our list of concealed carry holders to the Obama White House in straight defiance of state law. So we don't want to create registries because it only empowers the federal government. She supports a ban on the AR-15 because, of course, that's what tyrants do. They don't want good guys like you and I to have AR-15s because that prevents tyranny. Crystal Quade wants an AR-15 ban. She also is pushing to repeal Missouri's preemption law. This might not seem as horrible at first blush. Let me explain this to you, though. If we don't have Missouri's preemption law, that means that every city, every county can enact their own gun control laws. And so if you're driving across I-70 and you begin in St. Louis, you may have an AR-15 ban there, and then as you drive into St. Charles, everything is different. And then when you hit Columbia, it goes back to a universal background check or a mag limit or an AR ban or whatever it is. As you drive back out of Columbia, heading west, you go back into a good area again. And as you hit Independence and points west into Kansas City, you're right back into a gun control trap that you don't even know about. And that's the problem. If every city can enact their own gun control laws, you're going to have Missourians who have no idea what each individual town's laws are, who will be ensnared by these ridiculous laws they knew nothing about. That's how dangerous, that's why preemption laws are so dangerous. And finally, the big one, it's always the big one for the left right now, Crystal Quade, big supporter of red flag gun seizures. She wants the state She wants the courts, more exactly, to take away your firearms before you've ever set foot in a court of law. Guys, it's a nasty record. She's been there since 2016, pushing this agenda. She's getting more emboldened now because of Kamala Harris. And the contrast between Crystal Quade and Mike Kehoe could not be sharper. So guys, this is our info dump for all of you on this race. Again, when the video is over, we're going to include that snippet from the recent televised debate. Be sure and check that out. And then do me a favor. Number one, get out there and vote pro-gun on Tuesday, November 5. And number two, share this video with every gun voter you know here in Missouri. Take care.
I grew up in a different environment in inner city St. Louis, and it was an environment that was multiple gangs were literally right outside the door of our house. None of those folks that were carrying weapons then or today went to the store to purchase them. So every time we put more restrictions on a citizen's Second Amendment rights, we actually hurt the citizens who are trying to do this law-abiding and legally. We need to make sure we understand that as we move forward, we don't infringe on those rights. We continue to work with existing laws and support our police to reduce crime, improve mental health, and make sure that we're doing the right thing to take the criminals off the street and not allow them to be there to acquire these weapons.